What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 3 of the Toronto Maple Leafs' first round series against the Boston Bruins here. Losing this one tonight 4-2, moving to 1-2 on the series here so far. You dropped the first one at home, and now you're going to be chasing. You dropped the first one of the series in Boston there. That's okay. It's on the road. It's opening things up game 1, and, we all came on here. We had our little bit of a freak out. We had Rosie come on to talk about with us the fact that it might be okay because of the way that they played. And as we break this one down here tonight, I think you'll understand where I'm coming from with this one and kind of my thought process going through it, because I'm not smashing a panic button here right now. I'm not jamming away, saying it's over, like this thing is over. There are concerns though, and there are things that have popped up here tonight that have really brought out this deep-rooted PTSD within myself of ghosts of playoff past that we continue to watch every single year with this group that is just so beyond concerning when it comes to how they play in the playoffs. And it's the most predictable things in the world that if you fix these things, if you change these things, if you can find a way to turn it around, you're going to have success. You're going to have a lot more luck. You're going to be okay when it comes to the playoffs. But I'm watching this group go 0 for 5 on the power play. I watch Mitch Marner cross the blue line and go make turnover after turnover after turnover. And it's just infuriating things like that. And I watch them create opportunity after opportunity after opportunity where you say, and you could feel somewhat confident about the fact that your team is putting forth this effort and creating these chances and getting these opportunities. And Rosie came on the stream after game 1 and talked with us about it on Saturday night. The fact that, you know what, maybe it's going to be okay, because when you watch that happen, when you see them play that way, you have to think to yourself to some degree, it's not going to be like this forever. And they'll find a way to score. They'll break through. They'll have some type of outburst where all of a sudden they score 5 goals in a game and they dominate the other team. The problem is right now, the concern that I keep having when I watch them night in, night out, is that this is not the first time that this has happened. This is not the first year that this has happened with this group. This is 9 seasons now where we watch them generate these chances, and we could make ourselves feel better at the beginning. We could give ourselves a pat on the back and say, you know what, everybody, it's going to be okay because they played well and it'll turn around. These things will work themselves out. But then when you watch this over and over and over and over again consistently happen with these guys, where it just doesn't go in the back of the net. It doesn't happen. You're not seeing them score. And as Nick kind of made the joke about on Monday night when he came on here, we should be drinking and doing smelling salts to the idea of, celebrating the fact that they scored more than 2 goals in a game. Well, there you go. You scored 3 on Monday night, and you're right back down to only scoring 2 here tonight. You got outscored 4-2. You lose this game. These are such frustrating situations where I know that some of it is just bad luck. It's bad luck where some of this happens. I get it. You're ringing some posts. You're having the Bertuzzi opportunity on the power play in front of the net where it just misses, where he's wide open and it just misses. Or Jeremy Swayman plays incredible. But why the fuck are we one of the only teams in the NHL that's consistently getting goalied? Every time you turn on, you look at Twitter, you turn on the news, you read a newspaper, you watch media in the morning, you watch Jay Onrait at night, and it's like, well, the Leafs got goalied here again. The goaltender played incredible on the other side. Why the fuck does it always happen to this group? I'm rarely seeing it to the frequency that we see it with the Leafs here, where you go into these games and it's just like, oh, Jeremy Swayman, unstoppable, brick wall, unstoppable force. We're never going to beat him. Why? My friend in the chat here, Ian McMillan, I can't take it anymore, my friend. Ian, I'm on the same page as you here, brother. I'm experiencing levels of frustration with the group that it's just becoming a point of like, I'm almost not even frustrated. It just is what it is. And I feel like an idiot expecting anything else to come of this. I don't get it. I'm not declaring this over. I really am not. And I think that they played pretty well here in this game tonight. But like, Some of the stuff that went on is so inexcusable. It's so inexcusable for a team that's supposed to be a competitor, that's supposed to have learned these lessons. Okay, I can justify the fact that, they played well here tonight. I think that they played pretty well. And, you continue to create opportunities like this. It should, in theory, go your way at some point. You went 0 for 5 on the fucking power play. 0 for 5. You got Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, and Morgan Riley out there. 0 for 5 is fucking unacceptable. It's so unacceptable for that group. And you know what? If we talked about the fact that, yeah, it happened here tonight. You went 0 for 5. The power play wasn't good. It'll bounce back. We know this group. It'll bounce back. That's not the case. That's not the case. Every year they've gone to the playoffs, it's dropped off. And it's just like, hey, can they figure out a way to fix it this year? Can they figure out a way to turn it around? Well, as we went into the playoffs as we were closing out the regular season down the stretch, the power play took a dive. And then we talked about, hey, hopefully this thing can come back. Hopefully this thing can find a way to kind of turn itself around and get to a place where, it's the power play that buzzes throughout the regular season. It's the power play that we saw when it was the month of February, and they were the hottest power play in the NHL at that point in time. That stuff has disappeared now. And in a game like this where it's so difficult to score, it's so difficult to create opportunities, it's going to be really difficult. To help us break this one down here tonight, I told you guys ahead we were going to be joined by a special guest on the show. You've seen him here on Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday, joining along with Nick Alberga. Maybe he can ease the tension a little bit and talk to you guys in the Leafs Nation chat right now, who should be hitting the like button, by the way, while you're watching. Maybe cool temperatures down for those of you watching. Welcome to the show, Carter Hutton. Huts, how's it going?
Not too bad, buddy. Better than Leafs Nation right now. That was a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot to digest. For me, obviously watching the goalie matchup, Swayman's been lights out. That's the Frederick goal can't go in. I know Samsonov plays well. I know we love Sammy and he's been bouncing back, but that just goal can't go in. It can't go in the regular season. It can't go in the playoffs. That's an absolute killer. It's an absolute killer, especially, getting the momentum back, getting things going. It's a killer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that one because there's a lot of commotion that's going on. I myself am frustrated by the officiating. I don't think, again, I will say this over and over again because I know at certain points we get Bruins fans hop in, you're fans of other teams that hop in and start talking about it, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, of course, you're a homer, you're going to complain about the ref. I don't think that the Leafs got jobbed. Let me put that out there. Not at all. I am just not a fan of the officiating right now in general. Both teams can have a gripe about some of the stuff going on, which, I guess at that point, if it's going to be that uneven either way or that ridiculous either way, maybe it's just even, so I should just shut up and let it go, especially when you get 5 power plays here tonight. But that play... How does that happen? I don't know if you could take us inside the mind of Samsonov where that's going. I have said a million times, I'm not a goalie expert. I never will be. But there are ones that you just look at and, you go, you want that one back. As a fan, as a player on the bench, you're probably looking at that one thinking, how the hell did that one get by you? We want that back.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. It's one of those ones where Frederick can score, right? He's kind of a sneaky shooter. He has a pretty good release. And if you watch his release, the biggest thing is a stick blade. It looks like it's going the other way. He fools him for a slight second, but from distance like that, you need a save. There needs to be a reaction. So it's a tough one. Those are the ones where I think traditionally with his past with Toronto and the way he struggled at times, there's a little bit of PTSD for these players as well. That goes in. That is a tough one, right? And then you tie the game, and then they come down and score immediately too. On another one, the Marchand goal gets a lot of credit. It's a beautiful goal, but for me, dissecting Samsonov play, he's blocking. I know he doesn't have his stick, and you don't have your stick, you're a little thrown off. But if you watch that play, he just drops to his butterfly. He's not even trying to react to the puck. That's more of a play you make within a foot or two of your crease where you're just trying to be as big as possible. For me, his glove's not even the play. You need to react. It's tough. he played well. Don't get me wrong. He's played well, but you have to play well. That's like, that comes with the territory. And like, unfortunately, there's no like moral victories right now. You need to be exceptional, especially in the crease. And you look at the other end, that's 2 games now where they've been outplayed big time by Swayman.
Yeah.
And I don't think you see Allmark in game 4 now. I think you see Swayman on Saturday night, especially with that extra day rest, gets him on his normal schedule.
Well, I believe that's also 6 consecutive games here now that Swayman's beat the Maple Leafs, so he's hot against this team. What you saw out of Allmark the other night by no means was poor in terms of his play. The Leafs just kind of got the better of him, but when you've got that situation with those guys, I think you just keep it going with Swayman, give him the net back. This Leafs team, though, I don't know. Maybe this is going to be drastic. Maybe I'm just putting you on the spot here a little bit too much. I apologize if I am. But you look at this goaltending. You look at that goal let in by Samsonov. We saw a shaky game 1. We saw pretty good, game 2 there from Samsonov. Now this one here tonight, that's a goal that we've seen year like every single year we've gone into the playoffs where we watch the goalie and it's like, hey, that one kills you. That one stabs you in the back a little bit. Are you making any change to the goaltending, or is it still Sammy's net?
No, it's still Sammy's net. At this point, it's ride or die, I think. Unless maybe in game 4, he lays an absolute egg. But for me, there's a lot to take in. Like, he played well. Like, I don't want to take away from his game, but like,
Yeah.
playing well and playing exceptional in the playoffs is a big difference, right? There's a reason why every year we look at teams that go the distance. Their goalie is a difference maker. And you need to have a game where you just outright steal a game. And I think Swayman stole that game tonight at times. Like, he made a ton of big saves. Bertuzzi, he owned him at that point. You think about the goals that go in, a wide shot, a deflection. For Samsonov too, I think there's just like a little bit of like, like they showed it in the feed, like he's wearing the same suit into the game. Like, man, that's stuff that's hilarious to me as an ex-pro. Like, if you're good, you're good, man. It's not about what clothes you wear or what you do. I get goalies can be weird, but like, for me, I'm telling you, Swayman ain't doing that. High-end guys, you're not worried about little things like that. So again, that's just a small thing for me that just makes it seem like he's desperate and he's trying to find himself. And I don't think he's been bad, but he hasn't been great.
Let's talk about something that has been atrocious, not just bad, but it was atrocious here tonight. This Leafs power play goes 0 for 5. What are you seeing anything out there that you could kind of point to and be like, hey, that's where a problem is occurring? Like right now for me, I can't look at the guys who are on it. I think that it's probably the right unit. I mean, y'all obviously would like William Nylander to be out there with them. He's not available, so you got to deal with it because you know what? You have the luxury of also having John Tavares, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley. Like, you've got these other guys. You've got Tyler Bertuzzi, who was dominant on power play 1 for the Bruins last year. Like, it's not like you're lacking weapons out on that first unit. The thing that I kind of keep boiling it down to is, like, a lack of urgency is the best way that I've been able to put it, where it feels like there's maybe not a purpose to the movement that's going on with the puck. It'll circle around at points, but it's not really going quickly or being able to get the Bruins out of position to take advantage of. Oftentimes it feels like they're looking for the perfect pass. Am I in the right direction? Am I in the right spot here in terms of what the hell is going on with this power play? Because I don't know, man. Like it's unacceptable to go 0 for 5 in a game where it's so hard to score at 5-on-5.
Yeah, it's crazy to get 5 looks and not come up with anything is nuts. And I think you touched on it for me. It's like the perfection they're trying to find in the power play is not working. Like, they're trying to be cute. They're trying to find the perfect pass and it's all on the perimeter, right? And it makes it easy where some of the chances, there was one shot tonight where Morgan Riley just sifted one in from the top and it created chaos. That's what you want. You want to create chaos, get retrievals, re-attack the net, and every power play does that. But it seems like with the Leafs, it's always trying to be cute, where you'd almost be better to just run a flank where guys pound it, get pucks through. Because what happens is guys are forced to block shots, and then from there, chaos is created. And right now, you're not getting that. It's not making it difficult on Swayman. And when there was a ton of chances, like, look how many chances there was tonight at the front of the net with Bertuzzi, a few different players where pucks go to the net, there's a block, there's a rebound, a tip, and it creates chaos. And then from there, it breaks down the defensive zone structure, where I feel like they're always trying to be so cute, trying to make that perfect play. And at times it's frustrating watching, because you go to games, I've been at thousands of hockey games where the fans are yelling shoot, but like, this is a perfect example of like, they just need to shoot the puck to create, right? It's not that shot going in. It's what happens off of that. And that's where I feel like it's like too many cooks in the kitchen. They're trying to do too much. We're just keep it simple, have one guy run it, and then from there, guys pound it on the net.
Yeah, that's that analogy is pretty funny. It's one I've used here before where I'm like, you get so tired of hearing those people in the crowd yelling shoot. This is literally like, okay, no, let's just shoot the puck. Like how many
Honestly,
times are you
just keep
sitting
it
on your
simple.
couch being like, okay, why did you not shoot it there? Like you see JT gets a look at kind of the top of the circle between top of the circle and the slot. He's got a foot of room, but then he's looking over. He's like, oh, Matthews is over there. It's like, dude, just fucking shoot it. You got Tyler Bertuzzi standing beside the net who might tip it. It might hit him in the ass. He might be able to put home a rebound. Like just take these opportunities and try that. I don't know. Some of it is frustrating. We got some super chats here. A big one just came in. So let's get to this here right now. All right, Huts. Super chat here from Steven Oliver. We appreciate the super chat as well. Steven says, hey, gentlemen, this may sound silly and crazy, but the 8 p.m. start on Saturday has me worried because if memory serves me correctly, the Leafs over the last few years have a really hard time with games that start later than 7 p.m. I'll throw to you. You played. You had an opportunity to experience different start times, many different start times. Do you make anything of this 8 p.m. start time versus the 7? Is there any concern for you at all when it comes to that for the Leafs team right now?
No, I don't think so. This is like you're talking about professionals. They know what they're doing, but it is one of those things that come playoff time and there is some adjustments you make. I've played on different teams in the playoffs where you're not in the Eastern time zone and you're not the prime time slot being the Leafs. And sometimes like we'd play matinee games and I loved it. 8:00 games, you even play better. So I wouldn't think too much, but I know you could probably find stats on every little thing, but I wouldn't be stressed about that. I'd be more stressed about going 0 for 5 on the power play and getting William Nylander back in the game. So that'd be my more concern than 8:00 start. Maybe that's an extra hour so Willie can be ready finally.
Yeah, give him just a little bit extra time to rest up and be ready to go. Okay, there's another thing that I want to talk about because it's been a huge issue. It's something that is plastered across, quite frankly, the front of the Toronto Sun following a win to even up the series there, Huts. I don't know if you saw that in Toronto. They called him the Invisible Man, but we have a super chat here as well, so I'll get to that, and it'll tie into the next question. Jeff McKay says, watching Mitch on the power play getting pushed off the puck. Every time I think I have found the weak spot. What do you make of Marner's play here? Because I text with some of the guys who are other friends who are watching the Leafs game. It's been a huge story here with Marner. It's the first couple of games, he wasn't just invisible. He was just there was times, quite frankly, where he was bad. He was actually negatively impacting the game with some of the stuff that he was doing, some of the turnovers, whatever. This game here tonight, until he made that play that leads to the nice goal, that pass, I thought he was having another poor game. It wasn't necessarily like he was hurting this team, but when you look at it from the big picture of, hey, you're supposed to be this superstar player and you're basically doing nothing out there, that does hurt the team. Through a period and a half, he was rather ineffective. He makes that one play. I just watched this guy just drop off, it felt like, for the next period and a half after that goal. What do you make of his play right now? Is this just all in his head? Is he just not a playoff player? Like, what is going on with Mitch Marner? And is there anything that this team can do to fix this right now? Because it's a big issue.
For me, it's like, he has a high ankle sprain. He comes back from it. I know it's a brutal injury. So I don't know if that plays into it, but then you start talking about history and the way he's been in the playoffs and he just non-effective. So for me, it's like the NHL, which I struggle with in a sense, because we want the game to be a certain way, right? We play in the regular season. It's wide open. It's not called the same way. And then all of a sudden the playoffs start and it's just a free for all and the rules kind of go out the window and there's no structure. And then you get ref matchups that you have one ref that lets everything go. Then you have another ref that's calling everything. And I think Mitch Marner is the perfect example of a guy that can get you in the playoffs, but he can't get it done in the playoffs because of the way the game is structured. Like some of the stick work and some of the holding, some of the physical play that gets called in the regular season doesn't get called in the playoffs. Like, yes, he has to be better, but like, it's tricky for me. I struggle with the fact that these players get time and a little more space and they don't get sticks in their hands. And And then all of a sudden the playoffs start and it's just an absolute free for all. So I struggle with the way that the NHL, we want it one way. It's like you have to, like building a team as a GM, it's like you have to build a team that's good enough to win in the regular season with offense. But then all of a sudden you have to build a team that's beefy enough to get through the playoffs. It's like, well, why the hell does a game change? I struggle with that. And I think Mitch Marner needs to be better, but I think he is a product of a system that isn't built for a guy that needs space, that needs to do it. And he's soft, man. Guys are on him every 2 seconds. He doesn't have the space. And I just think he plays a soft game and it doesn't translate to the playoffs.
I'm watching this guy cross the blue line and, he hits breaks really quick, which in the regular season, you're probably going to have enough time and space to do so. But here, especially with this Boston team, they're on you. They're on you fast. They're taking away time and space. They don't give you that comfort, that flexibility that you have in the regular season. And it's just getting to a point of it's reaching a boiling point here, I think, with Leafs fans. Like, I've had shows here, Huts, where I come on after and I'm freaking out about Marner, and the chat is divided where half of them hate him, half of them love him and say lay off the guy. This has progressively just gone more and more and more towards the idea of like, hey, we can't, like, this guy's hurting us right now. And it's frustrating, I think, watching, because you watch the guy demand the money. He's incredible in the regular season, and then when it matters the most, it's not there. And I mean, it's frankly kind of unacceptable at this point. It can happen in a series. I can completely understand that, but for 9 years, like, come on, man, you got to do something.
And for me, there's guys that play on the perimeter. Like, you think about Patrick Kane, he's had playoff success. There's guys that can play that game and still get it done in the playoffs. So he needs to find some sort of happy medium. He clearly hasn't. But like, when you're talking about a guy that makes that kind of money, which was always explained to me when I was backing up like a goalie like Pekka Rinne, or you're playing with stars, like, their job is to win hockey games. Your job is to not make mistakes. As like, if you're a filler, like if you're on the third or fourth line, your job is to chip in when you can or get pucks out and be simple. Don't get, pretty much be even for the game. If you're a star, you have to score. That's what you're paid for. And you think about his money he's making right now. If that was divided into, say, 2 defensemen or 1 star defenseman, how much better does that make this Leafs hockey team? And that's, I think, what leaves a bitter taste in people's mouth is like, where's that money better spent? And now traditionally you look at all these other teams that win, they win with a better back end, more structure, giving up less, grinding it out, where all of a sudden you have this Mitch who's great. He's an all-star. He can do all these amazing plays, but come to playoff, he's non-existent. So it's hard to keep going to bat for him. I think that's the biggest struggle people have with him. I know there's homers that love him, but like, you can't lie. Like, he's been non-existent, and it's not this first time in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Like, you can love the player. I get that. It's just, I'm no longer at the point as a fan where like I'm happy with walking away with 105 points and watching this guy have that season. Like, I just don't care anymore. I go through the regular season, and the most investment I have in it is because, I'm a fan, obviously, but like, doing the post-game shows. So I'm here for everyone. So I'm going to watch everyone. Other than that, if I was just a fan sitting at home, there's probably a part of me that's just kind of tuning in to see if Matthews scored. Otherwise, like, let's find out what happens in the playoffs, because it's not really that I'm not interested in the team, but it's like, does it really matter until we get there? And this is a guy who all year everyone can talk about how great he is, and then when it gets to that point, it drops off. Now, one of the things that I am really interested to get your take on, I see a tweet that just came out a couple of minutes ago, and it's from Joe Bowen here. So bringing this up for people to see, he tweeted out, the idea of going to any sporting event to support the home team is to be proactive. Give the team energy when they need it, not sitting down waiting to be reactive. The players can't say it, but I will. Tonight's crowd was, all caps, very disappointing. Carter, I've heard you talk about a few different times the fact that playing in Boston is extremely hard. We hear different players talk about these volatile, hostile environments, and whether you think those are acceptable or not as a fan, about how players are treated, whatever. It is what it is. It's the nature of the game, and it makes it a whole lot more difficult, and you have to figure out a way to get through it. You also have to figure out a way to kind of combat what happens when the fan base starts to rile up the home team. What did you make of the crowd here tonight? Are you finding this just as disappointing? I know you weren't in the building, so some of it can be a little bit more difficult to speak to. I fully understand that, but what do you think about what goes on at Scotiabank, and like, how the hell do they fix this, man?
Yeah, it's tough. you don't get a feel for it, obviously not having boots on the ground, but like watching, like one of my favorite things to do right now with my son is watch the intros to the game, right? Because there's nothing that
Yeah.
gives you the vibes and like excitement for a game. But like when you watch Toronto compared to Edmonton, compared to Vancouver, just wait till it goes to Nashville. Like the place is nuts. I played there. It's almost like your heart rate gets fired up. There was games where I played in Nashville, triple overtime games where I was honestly so exhausted after. I didn't even play. I was just on the bench because of the crowd. Where we get to Toronto, it just doesn't have that vibe. It doesn't have that like energy, like, and it's there at times, but it's non-existent. And that's where having home ice is an advantage. Like I've played numerous games in Boston and they are vile. Like you're hearing stuff, they're all over you every waking minute, every single thing. And I mean, like, I get there's a money that Toronto brings in, and there's the suits, and we talk about the Platinum Club and all the stuff that goes on. But at some point, you could still be a Platinum Club member and you could still enjoy the event. You could still be engaged. You can still, nobody cares. That's what you're there for. And I think more than ever this year, it got very exposed. Not that it hasn't in the past, but like the fact that the game in Buffalo this year was crazy. It was awesome. Where just drag that into the playoffs. You're not asking a lot here. We're coming to you to come cheer on your team. And everybody loves the Leafs, but it just doesn't seem to get it done every year.
Yeah, that was pretty telling, that game in Buffalo. I believe that was the game that Domi came back and said, like, best crowd of the year. And I remember being on the show after, I'm like, okay, that's really cool, but also, what the hell are we talking about that an away game in Buffalo was the best crowd of the year? Like, that should never be the case. That should never be happening. I don't care how cool it is. That should not be the case for this team. Yeah, you got to find a way to get these, like, the fans have to be engaged from the puck drop. The players obviously have to be able to feed into it and provide energy, because we've had problems with them not starting on time. You know, the old Mike Babcock, he didn't start on time. But at the exact same time, you could say in the same sentence, the fans have to provide energy here as well. It is important. It matters. Like, it's reactive. It's an emotional sport. It's not played on the spreadsheet. It's played on the ice by human beings. It matters.
It does matter. And it has so much draw in the game. And I've been on the other side of it where like I've played in tough environments, and say if I was fighting it a little bit as a goalie and all of a sudden that crowd starts getting on you and starts closing in on you, next thing you know, like no matter how much experience you have, there's times where you start to feel it, right? And just like you do at home, when you have that energy, you have that backing, pucks are getting over the red line, you're getting chances, the energy builds, the hype builds. Momentum is contagious, and it's something hard to control or create, but the fans help. And there's a huge advantage to having fans that are engaged. And again, like tonight, watching from home, it just doesn't feel that way. Even when they get chances, there's like a steady roar and then it's gone.
Yeah.
There's no like, it doesn't just stay and close. And so it's frustrating because at some point you just want it to break through, and you'd rather see that Buffalo crowd bringing that kind of energy because they can make a difference in a game.
I have something here that I just see coming out of the post game. I'm interested to get your immediate thoughts on this as I'm taking a look right now. Jonas Siegel tweeting out from the post game. Sheldon Keefe calls Brad Marchand a world-class player, but adds, he gets calls. It's unbelievable, actually, in how it goes. I don't think there's another player in this series that gets away with taking out Bertuzzi's legs the way that he does. I talked a little bit earlier about the reffing. I'm just not really happy with it either way. I can understand Boston gripe. I can understand Toronto's gripe with some of the stuff completely, both ways. What have you made of the officiating here so far? And I mean, let's call it what it is. Marchand's ability to draw calls and get away with stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he's just planting a seed, to be totally honest. Like you literally just had 5 power plays to 2. And like, that's a tough one to go on. Like, I don't know, man. I'd be more worried about my power play than call. But I feel like coaches do that, right? They plant seeds. They're like trying to get in the head of what's going on. And yes, Marchand, I'm not going to sit here and say Marchand isn't that. Like, let's be totally honest. But let's not act like Bertuzzi isn't doing the same shit. Domi isn't doing the same shit. Yeah. It's the playoffs. This stuff goes on. Like Domi running into Swayman on the play. Like, he knows what he's doing. Swayman dives. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. And like Swayman, it's gamesmanship that goes on. This has been going on not just in the NHL since you were in junior or college or wherever you came up. It's part of the game. I feel like he's just trying to plant the seed there to be like, next time Marchand does something, he's going to get a call. But like McAvoy ripping down Matthews. There's been, it can go either way. I don't know. I just think it's trying to plant a seed totally. But again, it's the playoffs, man. And one thing that you can't argue is Marchand knows how to get under team skin and he knows how to win.
All right, last thing I'll do here, I'll ask you before you get out of here. I appreciate taking the time to do this here, Carter, as always. I'm curious your overall outlook on this team right now from what we've seen of them through 3 games. You know, we have a super chat here as well, so I'll hit the animation, kind of bring this in. Tammy in the chat, pretty funny super chat as well. I'll give her credit for that. She says, the huge hits by Benoit and Reeves flooded my basement. I mean, all right. Glad to see
this
that
is the After Dark show. Eh?
Yeah, this is After Dark. Appreciate the super chat. But I mean, she's not wrong, right? I watched that shift where Benoit steps up, smokes Pastrnak. I feel like, you know, we have 1 or 2 guys in years past that will step up and make a hit like that on a big player and do something. In the same shift, Ryan Reeves obliterates Pavel Zack in the neutral zone. Then the puck comes back around. Zack gets the puck again, and Reeves takes another healthy run at him. And, you know, he's been doing this. I'll give credit to him. I think he's been very, very good, you know, for who he is and what he is brings to the lineup. He's been very, very good, very effective. I continue to talk to Rosie. I listen to you guys on the morning show talk about the team. It feels like this team is just different. It has the pushback. It has the ability to get punched in the face and punch you back. Or in the other way to look at it is go down and punch you first. I feel like there's just a different makeup. I'm watching the first line look really, really good and create opportunities. But the one issue that just still sticks with me, and it sticks with me because I see it every single season, is like I'll come away from games or series saying, we played better than them. We deserve to win here tonight, but you didn't. You didn't score goals. You weren't able to get it done. You weren't able to capitalize on opportunities. What is your overall kind of maybe, you know, level of concern with this Leafs team's ability to get it done in the first round? I know it's game by game, but is this just going to be the same old where you walk away saying, you know, we outplayed them, but we didn't win?
No, I honestly think this team's built a bit different, right? I know Marchand has touched on it, and I think in game 1 and even game 2, like some reckless penalties. They're like overextending themselves. Where today I thought they did a better job of like playing within themselves. It's one thing to be physical and play playoff hockey, but you can't overextend yourself and like give up opportunities. I still think this series goes the distance. I'm not totally worried yet. My only concern is the fact that the goalies, like Swayman and Allmark, have both been very good. I think we see Swayman again. That is my concern. I think the Leafs need to focus on getting pucks through and understanding that like you don't need to be pretty. This is a time of year where the chaos is going to create more for you. So my level of concern is not as bad as I thought last year in the Tampa series, winning that series. I thought there was more games where Tampa outplayed the Leafs. If I'm going to be totally honest, I thought Samsonov was a big difference maker in there. Where right now I don't feel that same way about this series. I think this is a more equally matchup, and I think they're deeper. Nylander coming back will be huge if he can adjust to it. Because trust me, if there's another guy that can turn pucks over and play a soft game, it's William Nylander at times, right? So that's my only concern, right? He's trying to catch a moving train when he jumps on, but I'm not hitting the panic button yet.
Yep.
But you need a save. When you need big saves, there's no time. You look at Bobrovsky last night, makes maybe with the save of the century, and they win in overtime.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to make big saves at big time. And tonight, I don't think the Bruins got it and the Leafs didn't.
All right, Carter, thank you very much for taking the time. Appreciate it as always. You can find him hopping on here on Leafs Morning Take, joining Nick when Rosie is out. You can also find him doing the starting lineups, the goalies. I saw you were dialed in this year on the betting that you were doing. What was the rate that you were hitting at?
70% we hit during the regular season. I wish I would have bet a bit more. A lot of the times I just make my picks, so who knows? But we'll hopefully we can keep it hot here.
All right, Carter, thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate it as always, man. And hopefully this Leafs playoffs goes long enough to get you back on here again.
Sounds good, my man.
All right, there you go. Carter Hutton hopping on here tonight to help us break this one down. Very much appreciate him taking the time to do this. We got a couple things, housekeeping to do here during the show while we have the guests on, some of it popping up. So wanted to make sure I get to it and don't leave anyone hanging. I see some super chats. I also see some other stuff here. We hit 50 likes on the stream, so let's get to that first of all. If you're new to the show, you're new to the channel, or whatever, you're new to the post game, if you're new on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, however you're watching, if you're doing podcasts and you're wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? Why am I hearing sniffing? It's because at every 50 likes on the YouTube stream, we bring out the smelling salts. 50, 100, 150, 200, I don't care. Whatever it is, I will continue to do them throughout the show. So we hit the first 50. We're 16 away from getting to 100 here, so I'll get the first ones. Let's do the smelling salts. There you go. There's the first one. That's 50. You get it to 100. We'll do it again. Let's get to some super chats here that I'm seeing right now. I don't want to leave people hanging much longer. Let's get to some super chats. First super chat, Max NTS Decimus. Max, thank you as always. Loyal viewer, loyal listener, loyal watcher. As well, if anybody wants to call into the show here tonight, please send me a message, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, however you want to send it. I'm happy to hear from you guys. I want to hear from Leafs fans. If you guys want to call into the show, you are more than welcome to call in. You just send me a message and I will get you a link so that you can call in, and then we can talk about the game. We can break everything down that went on. We can break down what you liked, what you didn't like. Are you panicking? Are you okay? Just send me a message. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on the game. But Max here says, is there an over-under on Willie playing a game? Max, I would assume you're just joking. I get it. But I'm under the impression I feel like he's going to play on Saturday night. We saw Nick Alberga tweet out earlier today. We saw him break it on the morning show as well. The fact that he thought that the... he thought that or he had heard, excuse me, sorry, something popped up on my screen on the side there. He had heard that this is a head injury, in fact, that William Nylander is dealing with, so that's keeping him out. At some point here, if he's, if it's mild enough, I mean, I would assume that what they were trying to do is give him enough opportunity to go out there, test it a little bit, test his physical ability, test his limits, see how he was going to handle things and how he was going to feel after the game. Because if he was going to come out after that, or after the skates, if he was going to come out after the fact and he just wasn't going to be feeling good, his head was hurting, whatever, if he's dealing with some type of concussion, then yeah, obviously he's not going to be good to go. So I would assume that he's going to play Saturday. I think at this point it's important enough to get him in there. But yeah, it's still tough. I mean, what am I going to say? Like, it's tough to not see a guy who just signed for $11.5 million, scored 98 points in this regular season, and has been one of your most consistent playoff players every single year. It's tough to see him just not being out on the ice. You need scoring right now, and that guy scores 40 goals a year. You could use him. You could for sure use him. We hit 100 likes here on the stream. Let's hit the salts again. I appreciate everyone. Thank you guys very much. Keep hitting like. Let's get it to 150. Why not? There we go. Thank you to everyone who hit the like button. Keep going. Another super chat. Super chat from Max NTS Decimus. Again, Max, 2 goals, 1 loss. Shit trophy. Yeah, I mean, Max, that's part of what's frustrating, right? Is the playoffs are tight. The playoffs are hard to score. It's hard to score at 5-on-5. We all know that. That's what it's always been. It's just difficult because you have to find a way. I know it's easier said than done, and I'm not asking you to score 5-6 goals every single night and have some of these shootouts, but this is a game where you score 3, it might make this different. It might give you a lead. It might put you in front so that you're not chasing the game behind the Bruins here. You jump out, you can take control, you can take advantage, and you could kind of dictate the pace of play from there on out. You score 3, this one feels different. You score 3, maybe it's going into overtime. It's some of the stuff is so surface level. I know that. I know some of the things that I'm going to say just can't really add to the conversation or add to anything you guys don't know already. So I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but it's like, yeah, you got outplayed. Samsonov got outplayed by Jeremy Swayman. I get it. Swayman's an incredible goaltender. He was an all-star. He put up a .933 save percentage here tonight. You got to find a way to score, man. You have a 69 goal scorer. You got a guy in the press box who scored 40 or sitting at home in a dark room, wherever he is. You got to find ways to score. You do. I don't know. Like, get 3. This team seems to struggle to get over that hump of being able to score more than 2. Another super chat here. Super chat, Jamie Finley. Finn, appreciate you. I know all the boys are sitting there watching this one together, or watching a bunch of you guys watching right now. So shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. Finley says, take a salt to celebrate the fact that they scored 2 goals. Well, you know what, Finn, for the super chat, for this, because you sent that, thank you very much. I'll do the smelling salts for you, buddy. Cheers. There you go. Actually, you know what? For the next ones, we'll break out some different ones. I've got some other ones on deck here that we'll try. Keep going with the super chats here. I see another new one pop in here. Thank you again to everyone. We'll never ask you to do it, but you keep sending them. I will read all of them. The show won't end until the super chats have all been read. So that's kind of how I approach it, and that's how it'll be. Another super chat. Scout the Wookie. Thank you, Scout. He says, easier said than done, but shouldn't the messaging for this team be don't rely on the crowd for energy and create your own momentum? Size of this fan base can create more harm than good sometimes. Too many casual fans there. Scout, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I kind of disagree with you a little bit in terms of the take. Easier said than done. Shouldn't the messaging be the messaging for this team be don't rely on the crowd for energy and create your own momentum? Yes. Well, like, yeah, you're right. They shouldn't rely on the crowd for energy. I think that what is being said by myself, by Carter when he comes on here, by Nick when he's going to talk about it tomorrow, like, he was in the building tonight. You want to find out what it was like to be in there. You want to find out what the atmosphere was. You want to find out how intense or the lack of intensity. Tune in to Leafs Morning Take tomorrow morning. They're going to have Brian Burke on to break things down. That's going to be a must-see show regardless. But you're going to have Nick giving you at least some type of insight as to what it was like to be in the building. The thing I would say, Scout, is I don't think any of us feel as though they're relying on the energy. I think that the complaint for most fans who are at least at home and people watching on TV or people around the NHL who give this team a hard time is the fans in the building don't add anything. So I don't think that the Leafs are relying on them for energy. And I think that the way that they played here tonight and what happens with Benoit with the hits and Reeves with the hits and McCabe and Edmondson playing physical games and Austin Matthews. I mean, you want to talk about this guy getting involved in the game. He has 8 hits on the night. It leads all Maple Leafs. Ryan Reeves is second to him with 1 less. Matthews does that while also accumulating 3 shots on goal. Like, he's bringing intensity. I think the first line is creating their own energy. They're creating their own chaos. Watch Bertuzzi, watch Domi, watch Matthews. Those lines are creating their own energy. So I'm happy with them. The thing that I would push back on, the thing that I would say is I don't think that they're relying on it. I think that there's just no addition to the energy in that building from the crowd. What Bowen is saying, Joe Bowen is saying in that tweet is very much, I think, what a lot of people have their gripe with it is that the Leafs will create energy and then the fans react off of it, which is great. But there are times where you just need the fan base to get involved and give you some life. A prime example of this, which it may seem a little bit psychotic, but what I would say is when you watch the Canucks game on Sunday, the Canucks were scored on, and they go down in the game. I believe at that point they're down 2-1 to Nashville, and the crowd in Vancouver is standing on their feet going nuts, right? And that may seem insane because you're saying, well, you just got scored on, and yet you're sitting there celebrating. You just got scored on, and you're sitting there, getting ready and cheering and screaming and going nuts. And then the Canucks get energy. The Canucks get life. They are crying after the fact, talking about they've never experienced something like that in their life. They've never experienced energy like that, and it gives them life. This Leafs team scores the goal to tie it 2-2. The crowd is going nuts. Immediately after, you see the Bruins score, and it's dead silent. Any life that they had in that building, it's killed. It's done. It's gone. Like, there is no more energy, no more life, nothing happening in that building. And it's over. At that point, you basically are looking at this game and being like, this one is over. That's the end of it. That's the frustration that I think myself and a lot of other people feel, and Carter can kind of speak to when he's talking about the fact that it's a little bit difficult to watch this. All right, I've told you guys before that I want fans to call in. I want Leafs fans, those of you who participate in the chat, those of you who watch the show, to call in and give me your thoughts, give me your breakdowns and how you feel. This guy has been following along, at least with my stuff, for a long time, and I really appreciate that. He's someone who I've talked to separately on Instagram and in separate places, just messaging back and forth about the team, sends me news and updates and stuff, sometimes before I've even seen it myself, so he breaks stuff to me every now and then. Welcome to the show, to Leafs Nation After Dark for the very first time here, to help us react to this one, our friend in the chat, Josh Vandy. Josh, how's it going, buddy?
Glad to be here, buddy. How are you doing?
I don't know if your audio... Oh, there we go. There we go. What's up, Josh?
Yeah, how you doing, man? Glad to be here. It's a tough one tonight.
Hold on. I can't hear you here. Hold on. I think the chat can hear you. I can't hear you right now. I'll try to figure this one out quickly, but just as we continue, while I try to figure this out, I think your audio is good. I think it was going through, but Josh, in terms of, I'll just tee you up for something to ask about. In terms of what was going on with this Leafs team, what we saw out of them here tonight, what we see out of the fans, everything that was going on there, is there any concern to you going forward? Are you just like, hey, you know what? It's fine. We're only down one in the series. This thing is not out of reach. This thing is still very, very attainable. Like, what's your thoughts there?
I mean, you think about the series in the past, Tampa last year, Tampa the year before, you got the Columbus, the Montreals, the Bostons, the Washingtons, all those different playoff series throughout this Matthews, Marner era. They come close, and, you know, winners got to know what it takes to lose before they can win. And you think about the McKinnons, the Kucherovs, all these guys that have been there. I mean, this team, they're not out of it. It's a 2-1 series. The series could go either way. I think it's going 7. These are two great teams. As Marchand said, like, the Leafs, they look different this year. And you're not going to get it every, minute of the game. But the Reeves hits, the Bertuzzi hits, the grit from Domi, Marner's got to step it up a little bit. But I like it, and I think it's Leafs in 7.
Leafs in 7 still, so you're not panicking about everything that's going on with the team right now. Basically, what we've heard, what we're seeing out of these guys, like, you're all good. You think that the way that they're constructed, the way that they play, we're fine.
I mean, do they have stuff to work on? Absolutely. I think, you pull the goalie with 2 minutes left. If I'm Sheldon Keefe, I'm doing it at like 3 minutes. But Tavares takes that like costly penalty. What was necessary there? Was it necessary to grab McAvoy, try and get the puck back? I mean, I get it. It's end of the game. You pulled your goalie, but that's just, as a captain, that's kind of, not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, if you're going to look at this team and there's anything that you're going to change or you think needs to change going forward, what is it to you that's sticking out right now that's bothering you about what's happening? Like, what's bothering you about what's leading to these results right now?
I don't want to call him out. I mean, Toronto Sun called him out, and I think it was a little bit harsh. So I'm definitely a critic, but Mitch Marner, where are you? $11 million. This is what we pay $11 million a year, 10.9, whatever it is. You got to show up. I
Yeah.
get it. He made the nice pass. He set up Matthew Nyes, but you got to do a little bit more to get your money's worth. This is, next year is contract year for him. How many years are we going to see playoff after playoff? And he just kind of shuts down. He doesn't get physical. You look at Matthews. Matthews threw a couple nice hits tonight.
Yeah.
He's a goal scorer, but he's willing to do it in the D zone, in the O zone. He's doing it all over. Mitch Marner, you got to step it up for the rest of this series at least.
Are you feel optimistic at all about this power play if Nylander comes back? You think that this thing can turn around?
I mean, they're getting chances. Power play and penalty kill looks sloppy. I just got home from a buddy's house watching the game,
Yeah.
and I mean, just thinking about it, it's 11-6 right now in goals for, goals against in this series.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat Boston scoring 6 goals in 3 games. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if it's 5-on-5, if it's on the power play, even on the PK. I mean, at one point, the Leafs had a good PK and they were able to chip some pucks in, but the power play's got to step it up. I don't know if it's, Boucher. I don't know if it's Keefe. It's a mix of both. The players got to intervene. But something's got to give because you're not going to win a playoff series if you're going 0 for 2, 0 for 3 on the man advantage, and you're not going to get a lot of penalties from these refs. You know how it is, Zach. The refs are terrible this time of year for us.
Yeah, it is tough right now. I don't think that this team is getting jobbed by any means, but like it's tough. And it's like you watch these games here tonight. You watch this team get 5 power plays. Come on, man. Like, you got to score on at least one of these here. You got to take advantage of at least one of them. You'd like, obviously, for maybe 2, 3, because you look over at the Bruins. What is their power play here tonight? Well, they get 3 opportunities. They scored twice. That's 3 opportunities in a game. You lose 4-2. You take away 1 power play goal from them if your penalty kill can be like a tiny bit better there, or you flip around and if you have the same percentage of power play that they do on your 5 opportunities, you're scoring as many goals as they did on the night. And it's easier said than done, and I get that that's probably unrealistic and not sustainable thing to do, but when you have 5 opportunities, if you can go 2 for 5 on those, even 2 for 5 in those situations, when you get that many chances, you lost by 2 goals. That's 2 more goals to add on to your list here tonight. That stuff is frustrating to me. Josh, I want to ask you kind of your thoughts on where we're at with goaltending. Carter came on. He's probably the perfect guy to help us out break this down from a goaltending perspective, given that he was a professional goaltender in the NHL. Kind of talk us through what was going on with Samsonov, his game here tonight. As a fan, just your fan perspective of the mental and emotional state of the team and how we've looked at these guys and how we've looked at him in particular and his ability to handle things. What's your, where are you at feelings wise based just upon the goaltending and where we're at with Ilya Samsonov right now?
I mean, if you're going to talk this year, Samsonov is on a roller coaster of a season. The guy went through waivers at Christmas time, came back. I mean, prior to the last couple of games in the season, you look at his record. GA save percentage could have been a bit better. He had a pretty good record. He's a good goalie when he's on his game. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that Samsonov has really played that poorly for the Leafs in this playoff series. However, I gotta say they gotta do better. Sammy's gotta save that shot on Marchand. I mean, I get it. Matthews knocked into him, loses his stick a little bit. You're on your knees. Come on. You should know. You should know how to play the puck. You lose your stick. It happens. A D could have given him a stick, got it for him, something like that. But something's got to give. Get in front of the net if you know that Sammy doesn't have a stick. But D aren't in the area. Marchand's basically wide open, and Sammy's got to do a better job. So I don't think he's a write-off. I don't think you go Wall game 4. You got to keep Sammy's confidence right now. But Sammy's got to do a better job. He plays like he did in Tampa last year, and the Leafs win.
All right, Josh, I'm going to get you out of here on that. I will wrap things up with a couple more things for myself. We'll obviously talk about our best bet. We'll do the play of the game. We'll go grades of the game. I appreciate you taking the time to call in here tonight. You're more than welcome anytime. Again, thank you very much. Let's just win on Saturday. You know what? Let's ease everyone's nerves. Let's win on Saturday. And I look forward to you breaking more news in my Instagram DMs.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Leaf Nation, and go Leafs go.
There you go. There's Josh Vandy calling in here. Again, we're more than willing to have anybody call into the show, talk about anything they feel about what's going on, how they're feeling about everything that's going on with the team, all that kind of stuff. I'm seeing some Facebook stuff. I normally go to YouTube. That's where we're pulling the chat the most. We're pulling from, trying to answer everything. But I do see some stuff in the Facebook, so I want to make sure that you guys are accounted for here as well. I see Paul Ellis. Leafs fans have to stop getting so excited about a prolonged first-round exit. Will be a lot quicker after tonight. Paul, wow. That's dark, man. That's dark. No need. Randy Deering. Riley rifling the puck over the net on the power play is getting old. That's if he isn't shooting it at the other team's shin pads. Now, I want to touch on this quickly because, we talked about the game as a whole. I haven't really dug in too much into some of the specific plays, but Morgan Riley's a guy for me that just hasn't shown up yet in this series, and he's a guy that was kind of looked at, in my opinion, as an X factor going into this one. We have talked about the fact that you need your big boys to be your big boys. You need your big guys to step up and take over. Well, Morgan Riley in last year's playoffs was a stud. Like, that guy back there was an absolute monster, being able to kind of create plays, create offense, contributing, and just saying, you know what, I'm going to get it done here. I'm going to go coast to coast. I'm going to score. I'm going to create an opportunity that someone else is going to score on. He has not shown up here yet, and I don't think that he's been terrible, but I just don't think that he's done enough. Like, we're putting all this pressure on Mitch Marner, deservingly so. Morgan Riley has kind of flown under the radar because Marner has taken so much heat right now. Morgan Riley has not yet shown up in this series, I don't think. He has not been good enough here for this team to kind of push you over the top, which is unfortunate because right now we're watching Austin Matthews be the best player on the ice. We're watching Austin Matthews create so many opportunities, engage physically, be good defensively, going up and down the ice, and just creating stuff, making things happen. Like, Austin Matthews has been awesome, and we're in these tight contests with Boston where we're looking across and going, you know what? We should be able to create stuff. We should be able to have things happen, and yet we're not because Mitch Marner has not shown up. He had one good play in this series so far. It led to a goal, and then he fucked off after that. Like, you can sit here and defend Marner till you're blue in the face, but I will go right back at you and talk about everything else that he's done for 2 games leading up to this one, for a period and a half until he made that pass across, and then for a period and a half after, because he was just non-existent. We're watching this guy just be snuffed out on every single play. Anytime he gets the puck in the offensive zone, he's just pushed off of it. He's bullied away. He's not interested in going in the corners. He's not interested in engaging in battles. Like, he is just ineffective. And when you're going to have that, where you go from the top line being that good to an $11 million player just disappearing when it matters the most, it's rather frustrating as Leafs fans. It's rather frustrating to watch him do that because you have the ability to take advantage of a little bit of a lack of depth with Boston. Now, that team is a very, very well-constructed team. That team is a very well-coached team, and they have incredible buy-in from every single person who joins that organization. That being said, you're looking across at a guy who's played 20 NHL games this year, jumping in on the back end to take over for Andrew Peeke, that Mitch Marner should, in theory, be able to feast on. And yet he is just not there. Like, he is just not there. Dell in the chat, Marner will eat all your words. Look forward to your comments after Game 7 win. there you go. Like Paul Marner hopping in the chat under his burner, Dell, talking about Marner will do this in Game 7. What the hell makes you think that Mitch Marner will show up in Game 7? Because he never has before. He's never shown up in a game that matters before. And, oh, by the way, Dell, through the first 3 games here, he's still been non-existent. Non-existent. So why the hell would I believe that he's going to show up for Game 7? Okay? Like, it's just... It's not being there. No one in this fan base at this point is able to hold on to any kind of hope when it comes to him and his ability to turn things around, or at least even show up in a Game 7. Like, if this team wins in a Game 7, it's not going to be because of him. It'll probably be in spite of him, because at this point, you are looking at a first line that's playing incredibly well and a second line with Ryan Reeves. Nick and Rosie talked about it this morning, and I was laughing, but they're right. I was laughing, but they were just right. We are having a conversation about Ryan Reeves and Mitch Marner in the same sentence. What the fuck are we doing? We're talking about Ryan Reeves and Mitch Marner in the same sentence? That's embarrassing. Kudos to Reeves, but if you're Mitch Marner, that is pathetic. He's just not shown up, not made any type of impact. It needs to change. Morgan Rielly, he needs to be better as well. Timothy Liljegren has been very, 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 very poor in this series, I feel like, as well. I don't have too much to add to it. I talked about it a little bit with Nick the other night, because the problem is we can sit here and talk about Timothy Liljegren and how he's been ineffective and he's not doing well. Who do you want in there instead of him? Connor Timmins, Mark Giordano, TJ Brody? It's not like you've got that much better of options sitting and waiting. You just don't right now. We got another super chat. Super chat here from MNH Crush. MNH, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, Marner looks like he's trying to do too much. Swayman takes the bottom of the net away. Why are they not raising the puck and just trying to force it in? And they're just trying to force it in low. 2 parts here, I guess. First one with Marner is you're talking about it looks like he's trying to do too much. Yes, I would agree with that to an extent. The thing that I would disagree with is, like, this is what he does in the regular season. He's playing the same way that he does in the regular season. It just doesn't work in the playoffs. So it probably looks like he's trying to do too much, or he's doing too much, but this is who he is for 82 games, and then it just gets to the playoffs, and everyone's like, oh, well, what are you going to do without a 99-point guy on your team? Like, well, he's 99 points in the regular season, and he's nothing in the playoffs. He just disappears. So what value is that to your team? Who cares? This guy's doing effectively nothing right now. The other part of this is Swayman takes the bottom of the net away. Why are they not raising the puck and just trying to force it in low? Rosie talked about that on Saturday night when he called in post-game, and he was talking about, you see Swayman, you see his ability to impact the game and how strong he is down low. I mean, they are trying to raise the puck or trying to beat him up high. You saw Tavares go bar. You saw Matthews rip the post. I think it was in the second period. You're seeing them beat him. And again, it's like, it's going to piss everyone off, but some of it they're just getting unlucky with. Man, like, I just don't know with some of it, right? Because it's like, yeah, it should turn around and it should be better, but it's not, and it hasn't been, and it's just never, it's 9 years of, wow, they played well, they got chances, they just didn't bury. At some point, you got to score, boys. You got to put pucks in the net. I also see something here from HK Chinese Canadian. Says, Zack, the core four are too soft. This is why they won't go anywhere in the playoffs. Look, Matthews Matthews, I would say like this. I would say Matthews, no, wrong. I don't think Matthews is soft. I think that he got fucked over by playing with Marner, and I think that we're seeing that here now because he feels really, really effective alongside Bertuzzi, alongside Domi. The way that those guys play together, the way that those guys battle, the way that they engage in net front stuff, the winning corner battles, like it's so much fun to watch. It feels like something we've never seen before. And the chances that are coming from them being put together is so enjoyable. And we just don't see that with Marner because he's afraid. He's afraid. He doesn't want to engage. He doesn't want to be a part of it. He just doesn't. Tavares, I think we're seeing, I don't know. We're seeing a little bit different out of him in terms of what he's bringing. We saw him go head-to-head with Pastrnak when Nyes was down in the corner in the battle with McAvoy. Like, we're just seeing it feels a little bit different from him. I still would like to see some more emotion, some more jam, but I would hesitate to just call him outright soft. Marner, he's soft. Yeah, he is. He's way too soft, and he's fucking invisible right now. William Nylander has not yet to join this series. Let's see what he can do when he comes back and how injured he is, because I have legitimately no clue what's going to happen when he returns to this lineup. It's concerning, guys. Like I don't know what else to tell you when it comes to that. All right, let's get to our next segment here that we got to do. We got to break down about what happened. I do it in the game preview so that everyone can see as well while you're watching. 7 likes away from more smelling salts. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Let's get 7 more likes. Let's get some more smelling salts in us. But let's also get to our Bet365 best bet that went on here tonight. Let's take a look, because we are thrilled to welcome Bet365 as Leafs Nation After Dark sports betting partner just in time for the 2024 playoffs. We'll be here with Bet365 to provide you all the news, analysis, lines, and betting options for the playoffs. Bet365 is the largest sports betting platform globally. You can open an account using promo code TLN bonus. That's TLN bonus to bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And remember, gambling can be addictive. Please play responsibly. Eligible iGames conducted and managed by IGO are only available to those physically present in the province of Ontario. You must be 19 plus. All right, let's talk about what went on with this Leafs bet that we had here tonight. I talked about it in the game preview. Mitch Marner anytime goal plus 225 was the best bet. I kept thinking to myself, you know what? Mitchie, he's going to get it done here tonight. Mitch has taken so much heat, so much criticism. You know his dad is reading every single newspaper that's coming across his desk. He's reading every single thing that's going on. He's looking at this. He's upset. He's sending it to Mitch saying, here's what they're saying about you. Those people in Toronto, they don't respect you. They don't like you. They don't want you here. I thought he was going to be fired up. I thought we were going to see some life out of Mitchie tonight. Lo and behold, old playoff Mitchie can't even get himself fired up enough to have any type of impact on the game from a goal-scoring perspective. He gets the one great assist. He gets the one great opportunity in the slot that he hits Tavares' ankle. And outside of that, he just can't get it done. That's on me. I thought that Mitch was going to show up here tonight. I thought that this was going to be a night that Mitch was going to be a difference maker, that Mitch would shut up the crowd. I'm an idiot. We bet a half unit on that. Mitch Marner anytime goal scorer plus 225. I think the number was good. I think it was a good bet in theory. It just doesn't come through for us here tonight. So that's unfortunate. You hate to see it. But if you were using Bet365, you probably maybe, hopefully, I mean, you know what? Hopefully in the long run, you go along with what I'm betting, because we're in this together. We're in this as a team. But if you bet that and nothing else, well, here's what you missed. Over on Bet365 tonight, these are the pregame anytime goal scorer odds. If you were taking a look, you would have seen over there, you could have bet Brad Marchand anytime goal scorer plus 220 here on Bet365 tonight. You also could have got Jake DeBrusk plus 240. So those are a couple that I was looking at ahead of time and thinking, you know what, maybe this is something that I would dive into. Jake DeBrusk, this guy feels like he's just molding into the Corey Perry, Nick Paul area of Leaf killer. This guy scores important goals, especially against this Maple Leafs team, and he finds a way to get it done. And over at Bet365, incredible odds, plus 240 on him here tonight to be able to score as well for the Leafs on the other end. Tyler Bertuzzi was one that I was taking a look at. I wasn't quite as interested in it at that number. I think that that's probably pretty fair. Plus 240 you see right now at Bet365. Those are the pregame odds. But if you were to have bet on this game, that is what you would have missed if you did not bet those ones. So make sure to check out Bet365 yet again. I can only say it so many times. It's the first sportsbook I ever signed up for when I started betting. It was the first sportsbook that I got myself involved with because it's easy to deposit, it's easy to withdraw, it's easy to use. There's plenty of markets that you can choose from, whether it's player props, first period, second periods, live betting. There's so much. It's just so easy. It's easy to click and find and see what you're looking for. Searching features, lots of leagues, lots of markets. It's just an incredible app, an incredible website. So make sure to be signed up over at Bet365. And as always, guys, just remember, please play responsibly. Gambling can be addictive. I will constantly preach bankroll management, responsible gaming. That is something you should always be doing no matter what's going on. No matter how confident you are in a bet and a thought, you should be betting responsibly. Bet at Bet365. If you are 19 plus, please play responsibly. Head on over there. That is a great place to play. A couple more things that I want to get to here before we finish this one up. Obviously, we'll do our play of the game. We'll do our grades of the game as well. But there are some more super chats, so I want to make sure. Oh, wait, never mind. I read that wrong. That is my bad. It popped up on the screen late there. I thought something came through. Got a wrong notification. I saw comments earlier that I want to address. I saw someone say to me, "Guy in the hat, stop blaming the fans." I'm not blaming the fans. The fans are not the reason that this team lost. No one on the show who's come through. Josh calling in, he's not blaming the fans. Carter, he's not blaming the fans. No one's blaming the fans. But the fans can be better. The fans can be so much better. You can give this team some life, some energy. Because you know what's going to happen when the Bruins score that goal immediately after you've tied things up? The Leafs bench is probably going to feel kind of shitty. But you'd like to think that people on that bench, there's someone in there with some life, some energy to say, you know what, let's get it done. Let's fight back. This thing's not over. Once the fans are deflated as well, it's hard to kind of get that energy going yourselves when it's like everyone in here just gave up on us. I don't blame the fans. I don't think anyone's blaming the fans. Bowen was not blaming the fans, as Chris says there in the chat. No one's blaming the fans. That being said, the fans can be better. Both things can be true at the same time. Chat is pretty funny right now. I'm not going to lie. There's stuff there I just can't even read. I cannot read this. But you guys are on one. I appreciate it. We did hit 150 likes here on the stream tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who did hit the like button. If you haven't yet, hit it now. We have plenty of people, well clear of enough people to get me to do it again, maybe even a couple more times. Let's get to the smelling salts. These ones are different. These ones are strong, I think. Those ones burn. These ones are not as like punch you in the face, but they're burn. I'll tell you that for free. 150 likes on the stream. There you go. We do the smelling salts. It is what it is. Keep it moving. I know people are watching on Twitter right now. If you guys are watching and you want to participate in this, you want questions and stuff read, you can fire on over to the YouTube channel. It's easier for me to read questions there, answer everything. I am trying to see it. I don't want to continue on the Hart Mitch train. I think we've said enough. I'm not going to get mad here tonight. This is not a get mad type of night at it. I do agree that the team played pretty well. Not capitalizing on opportunities is frustrating, and going 0 for 5 on the power play fucking sucks. What else? Like, that's where I'm at with that. You give up these opportunities right away, and it's just like, what are we doing? Some bad defensive plays, some sloppy stuff that happens. No one is safe from criticism when it comes to that. Mike, replying on Twitter, I defend Mitch more than most, but if you look at 3-4 goals with him in the ice, he's always high in the player in his area. 88 last game, 63 this game, and Marner misses the coverage. Really hard to watch right now. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I don't blame you. Keep hitting like. We got 2 more things to get to before we close this one out. Yeah, there you go. Semcast, blame Nick. Yeah, show up to the. I want you guys to show up to the. You should be watching Leafs Morning Take anyways. Every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here on this channel, Monday through Friday, every weekday. You should be showing up and watching it. But I obviously watch the show every day. I love that show. I love those guys. I'm gonna put a challenge on you. If you don't watch that show, you gotta go show up tomorrow morning and blame Nick and tell him that he didn't bring enough energy tonight. Put this one on Nick. He was too quiet. He was too quiet in the arena. Tell him in the chat tomorrow. Nick, not good enough, brother. Nick, you need to be louder. Nick, why didn't you bring the intensity? Give it to him in the chat tomorrow. Give it to him. Let him hear it. I want to see that. I will be watching. I will be active in the chat tomorrow as well. But you guys better give him some shit. It's not actually his fault. Let's make sure that that's clear. I don't actually blame him. But you guys, that's my challenge to you. Go tomorrow and give Nick some shit. Give Nick shit about not being loud enough. Please. That's my challenge to you. All right, we got 2 more things to do here. Let's get to our play of the game. Okay, play of the game for me. Play of the game for me is going to be simply Simone Benoit hit on Pastrnak. Nah. Am I being too harsh on Mitch for not giving him play of the game? I might be. You know what? Okay, fine. Play of the game is going to go to Matthew Knies' goal. The pass across from Marner. This guy's been invisible for 2 games. He's invisible for a period and a half. He made a beautiful pass. He deserves credit where credit is due. Nice, like it's a great play all around, in all honesty. Tavares pulling up in the neutral zone, making that stop up, losing his man, able to open things up in the neutral zone where it's not just going to be a complete clusterfuck that's going on. He hits the brakes, makes a nice pass across to Edmondson, who's flying into the zone. Nice little drop pass, draws the defender, drop pass to Marner. Marner steps to the outside, shocker, steps to the outside, makes a nice little no-look pass. Whew. Nice little no-look pass, backdoor to Matthew Knies, who's driving the net, stick on the ice. we knew Matthew Knies was going to show up at some point in this series and make some type of impact. I wasn't sure when it was going to be. I wasn't sure what form it was going to come in, but there you go. It's a goal here tonight. I think he had a pretty decent game. I think he played well, and hopefully this is something that for Knies can carry through into the next game and kind of just give him some momentum, give him something to build off of, because I think I think he's an important player, and I think if he can be effective on that second line, then it's only going to continue to add to the Leafs' ability to win. Let's get to our final thing here. Let's get to our grades of the game. Still no animation, just FYI, but grades of the game for tonight. Want you guys to send yours in the chat here as well. Let me know what you think your grade of the game is. My grade here tonight is going to be a C+. The biggest reason for the C+, terrible goal by Samsonov to lead to that first goal. There should have been penalties on that play. Even if you want to even it up and go both Bertuzzi and Marchand, there should have been penalties on that play. Regardless, you're the goaltender. You can't be worried about that. You have to be watching the play going on in front of you. Trent Frederick comes down and rips that thing short side past Samsonov. That should never have been a goal. That should never have been a goal. That should not have been in. That is a weak goal to allow. Tough right there. As well, you know what? I'm going C on this. As well, on top of that, power play, 0 for 5. Your special teams sucked. It sucked. 0 for 5, and your penalty kill goes 1 for 3. Not good enough. You just can't have that. You need to be better on your special teams. You need to capitalize on your opportunities on the power play. Yeah, here and there, your penalty kill might slough off a little bit, not have the greatest night, but you got to be better. You got to be better. You can't go 0 for 5 with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares out there, Morgan Riley, Nylander not playing right now. You cannot do that. It just can't happen. It can't happen. There was some sloppy defensive play. Timothy Liljegren, not good in my opinion. I just don't know what to do, because what do? Put Brody or Giro in? I'm going to C on tonight's game. I think that they played well. The issue for me outside of that, especially at 5-on-5, the issue for me just comes with you make one big bad mistake and it's in the back of your net, whereas Boston makes the big mistake and it feels like we're not able to capitalize on those. C is my grade. If you haven't yet, make sure to head over to nationgear.ca, shop the exclusive Bleed Blue merch, get yourself suited up for the playoffs here. And if it's not for the playoffs, then you know what? There's always next year. That's what we say every year. There's always next year. So maybe now's the time to get your exclusive Bleed Blue merch for next season as well. Get it for the rest of this playoff run. If you have any faith in this team, then you want to get it. So you want to absolutely look to get it for this year. But if not, there's always next year. There's always next year. Make sure to head over to nationgear.ca to get your exclusive Bleed Blue merch. That's going to do it for me for tonight's show. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. I appreciate everyone who watched, liked, subscribed, turn on notifications. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Like this on your way out as well. Drop a comment if you're watching back after the fact. And if you are looking for this in any other platform, you can find it on all podcasting platforms. Wherever you get your podcast now, head on over there. Find it as Leafs Nation After Dark. The Leafs Nation After Dark show. You can find that. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on podcasts. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, regardless of what platform you are watching on. I appreciate the support as always. That's going to do it for me tonight. This has been game number 3 of the Toronto Maple Leafs 2024 Stanley Cup playoff run. Hopefully this is a run and not just a first round, but 2024 Stanley Cup playoff run. We'll be back Saturday night following game 4 to break that one down. Special guest coming up on Saturday. Jay Rosehill joining us after game 4. Hopefully we get a win and at least split these, go back to Boston 2-2. Thank you so much to everyone who watched here tonight. Appreciate the support as always. Make sure to come back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, to break tonight's game down. Let Nick know he was not loud enough. He was not loud enough in that building. Tell him that tomorrow morning on the show in the chat. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you Saturday night. Keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.